where did I go? You know where I went? I went
To Molly?
to Molly's house. She says, where have you been lately?
How long were you gone?
About 2 months.
That's all?
Oh, God.
All this in 2 months? You went from
Well,
high
I
school?
traveled, did a lot of traveling.
Imagine not knowing where your child was for 2 months.
Yeah, what did you say? What happened then?
Molly says, wait till your dad gets you. I said, that's why I stopped at the police. Oh, I was. I says, I need a shower and a bath and a shave, and I get cleaned up a little bit. She says, you can take your clothes and throw them out here, and I'll wash them while you're taking a shower. That's when Abe and Nell, Abe and
Molly?
Molly lived on that little short street with the
Yeah.
blue nag, had
Yeah,
a blue nag.
we argued about that. Now I remember it. Remember, I said I didn't remember them living there.
That's Charles,
Yeah.
on Charles Street,
Uh,
next door,
It was,
next to Seward.
Little street.
no, this is another little place that they
Oh,
lived in.
really?
I know what he's talking about. Then they moved on Charles.
Then, they had a dog there, a white dog at that time. And he used to howl every time the sirens went off.
So after you took a bath, then what did you do?
I got cleaned up and I went home. Jenny was there. She says, who is the event? So I told her, I said, I traveled and I want to see what the other people look like. She said, your father's very angry with you. I said, so? I'll see you.
Did
If
she
you
say
don't
that-
like me, I'll won't come. Oh. All he said is, you hungry? My father said. That's all he ever said to me.
Didn't take a strap to you, huh?
No. Well, I
He
pretty
was
much
19 years
good-sized
old?
boy, was old then.
They were glad to see you, Nathan. When did you go to Iowa? Oh, you thought you were going to go to school. See, when we took our honeymoon, Irv got his parents' car, and we drove to Chicago. And we stayed overnight at do you remember this at all?
Who?
Irv and I, when we got married,
No.
we drove, oh, you don't remember this? Oh, it was a
Oh,
big
go
thing
ahead,
in our
go ahead.
life. I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
I'll tell you why.
Tell me what.
Shouldn't tell you this, but, so we stayed in Iowa City, and I knew you were there.
Oh, that was later on.
No, that was on our honeymoon. It was in 1931. That's when we got married.
Oh, I was there, just, yeah,
Honey, you
I'll
were
tell you
there.
what happened. I'll tell you what happened. So I said I want to get more education. So Jenny talked to Abe and Molly, and they said if you want to go to school, to Rosalie Braverman's school, the University of Iowa, they'll give you work. We'll give you $100. Well, $100 to me at that time was as big as this house.
How did they happen to tell you this? I missed something. Who told you to go to Iowa City?
Molly.
Mama did. She talked to Abe to give
Oh, Molly.
Abe and Molly to give me money to go borrow me money. This was a loan.
I see. Okay. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes, for $100. And I went to school. Went to Iowa City on a bus for I think $5. Those days the buses were jalopies, you know. And I went to Braverman's and I told them, went to Rosalie's first. She says, well, we can give you work. So my mother called her long distance and told her I was coming.
Oh, you were there now.
So this was in the summertime. It was had to start fall. So I got to work in the warehouse unloading cars. Well, potatoes, oranges, canned goods. But the worst thing in the world that I ever unloaded in my life was salt. Block salt, you know, for cattle. You ever seen this?
Yeah.
They lick it. And salt for the ice cream companies and other. The salt would lick through our overalls, and we would sweat, and our legs would just burn.
Oh, my.
So the guy, another kid was with me, he says, what the hell can we do? I said, give me a nickel. So I nickel went to the drugstore, I said, give me a jar, how much is a jar of Vaseline? He said, 5 cents.
5 cents?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know, a jar of Vaseline's not
Yeah.
that big. So we went, got a shower, and I said, nothing like, let's rub our legs now
Yeah.
before we go to work on the salt car.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I told them, boy, we had it made.
What's your story with Iowa City?
Oh, yeah. So we knew he was in Iowa City. It was evening time, you know. We stayed at some hotel there, I don't know what it was. And I found
Jefferson, probably.
Huh?
Jefferson Hotel.
Yeah, I got Irving's writing letters from the Jefferson. I guess he took some stationery. And so we called you. And you were delighted, you know, somebody from the family and everything. And you came running over. And you wouldn't leave. You just wouldn't leave. It was our wedding night. You don't remember that? I'll never forget it. And we kept looking at each other and, you know, like, I don't know if we had wristwatches. And Nathan wouldn't leave. We're just talking. He wants to
Well,
talk.
after all, it's a long time since I talked to Selma.
Yeah, he was so happy to see us, and we were glad to see him, of course, but doggone.
You should have kicked me out. Say you got an early rise.
Oh, yeah. So that was funny. That was Monday. We got married
Well,
on
I went
Sunday. This is Monday, yeah.
I went to school for 2 semesters. I was doing good in engineering, and I was doing good in math, but they made it for I had to take a foreign language. So I took German. I thought, well, that's close to Yiddish. I'll understand some of the words.
It was good.
But I was getting along pretty good, but I got the money, you know what I used to get an hour at work?
Quarter.
Yeah,
Dime.
That much, I don't think that much.
5 cents an hour.
Yeah, that's what, I told you, I worked for $25 a week, and I didn't feel like we could get married on that.
So after you got married, you lived in Iowa City, didn't you? Didn't
Well,
you?
then he met Selma. Where is
Yeah.
Selma, by the way? Did you go
She's
there?
walking, she was walking
Oh,
back
I
and
see.
forth.
And then, didn't you go live with him in Iowa City?
We live? No, I went to
No,
visit,
no.
but I didn't live with them.
Oh. So during the summer, we tried to make enough money to go to school. Books used to cost so much, and programs were so much. We barely get through the 2 semesters, and in the summertime, sometimes we'd work extra. We'd go Sunday. It was a big brewery in Rock Island called the Rock Island Brewery, and we'd load up the truck. He had a big steak truck, and we'd take the empty. Another young man, I'll tell you his name pretty soon, would load up the truck and empty. We'd go to the brewery, and they'd have it waiting for us. We'd unload that, and we'd put the beer on. We'd go get something to eat, and we'd take the beer back to Iowa City to the warehouse and put it back in the warehouse. But this Brady boy, his father ran a grocery store on just off the campus, Milo Brady. He finally went to dental school, but his folks helped him out. But I tried to earn enough money during the summer well, I had to pay room rent, I had to buy food, you know, books and everything. I just couldn't make them. And one night, I was living in Charlie Mogul's. He died here not too long ago.
Yeah.
Charlie Mogul's folks is home in Iowa City.
Oh,
No, wait a minute, not Charlie Mogul, but Charlie White, not Charlie White, but Charlie, boy, good friend of mine, his names hurt me. Well, anyhow, I lived this, and I had a room and a desk, and I used to do my homework in there. It was in the winter time, and they used to heat with coal. They'd bank the furnace, and in the wall, in every room, they had a
Vent?
Radio?
Vent?
no, where the wallpaper was a chimney with a hole. They used to plug it with a metal chimney
Oh, yeah, what was
cover.
that for? Why was that?
To clean up the chimney, I
We
think.
got the furnace in the basement.
We used to have that, I don't remember why.
Because for each room, they used to have a heater for each room in the old days. Remember those plugs in the...
Yeah, now that you mention it, I remember seeing it.
Well, anyhow,
What they were for.
they had this furnace wasn't properly banked, and it built up gas,
Oh,
and it was a miniature explosion. Poof!
oh.
And everything turned black. The lights went out, we put fuses in the light, and I looked in the mirror, and I
You
could
were
say,
black too.
Mammy.
You're lucky then.
Oh, God,
I'm
we,
outside
everything was
waiting.
schmutzy with soot. And I will forget that. Well, I says, this is a berries. I says, I could find something else to do.
Yeah.
So Dave Braverman says, I'll tell you what I'll do with you. I'll make you manager of the store on Church Street. I says, can I have my own say? He says, it's yours, you run it. So then Maury and Leonard come to visit me.
Oh.
And they had a store in a small town, Maringo.
Leonard and Maury?
No,
Oh,
Braverman.
Braverman.
Oh, I see. I don't know where it goes.
Julius, what the hell was his last name? It was also, the wife was a friend of Jenny's. Julius, anyhow, he ran the store in Maringo.
Nebraska? Iowa?
So, Abe said, Dave Braverman says, come on, we'll put a load of oranges on there, and you and Leonard and Maury can take a ride up there and help him unload. So we got up there, we unloaded the oranges, and his wife says, what would you like to eat, boys? I says, you know what, I haven't got for a long time, is potatoes pancakes. Leonard and Maury said, yeah, Leonard, potato pancakes. She made us potato pancakes this time. Julius, what was his last name? Jenny would, Selma would probably, is she still walking?
I don't see her.
Selma, I know, hung around Abe Greenbaum there, we used to go to the market with him, and I knew that. Well, anyhow, Dave Braverman had a brother named, what was the brother's name?
Eli.
No, not Eli, that was the oldest one. The one who was in partners with him in the Hawkeye.
Oh.
Well, anyhow, he used to go to Benton Harbor, Michigan, every weekend and buy produce from the fruit farmers up there and bring them to Iowa City, Iowa. He would take his car, would drive up there, buy fruit and vegetables, and come on a truck the next day. So he says, you take that store, you run it. He says, the way you want it, and I run it, and I learned the grocery business real good, from the bottom up. Then Selma wanted to come back to Lincoln, and her husband Morris found a place on 27th and Holdridge.
Her father.
Huh?
Her father.
Her father, what did I say?
Her husband.
Her father, excuse me. On 27th and Holdridge, he had fixed up that grocery building for a grocery store, remember?
Yeah.
And we came back to Lincoln. And before we come to Lincoln, we called this fellow trucker to come in Iowa City and take all our furniture, whatever we had, and bring it to Lincoln. And he was our mover for years and years. But Bud Dudley.
So you opened up a grocery store on your own then, or with her father?
No, my own. He provided me with funds and everything.
Started.
And he was active in the grocery store with me. And then Howard was in the meat department, his son, and he was married then, but then they had to go to the Army. So I run the store, both meat and grocery, till Howard got out of the Army. Right, Selma?
Yeah.
But Howard and I opened, this store wasn't modern enough in the coming era, so he built a building on 33rd and A Street. It's still standing.
He didn't build that building. He bought that building.
He built it, Mr. Whatchamacallit built it. So help me God, you asked Sylvia and Gertie. He built that building. It was a drugstore on the corner,
Yeah.
and they knocked that down.
I didn't know that.
Sure you did. He built that building. Remember, I got hit in the head with a brick.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
when they were
how
building
about with hitting the head? That second time, that's the first time I got hit in the head. Second time with a revolver.
A mason was trying to break a brick up above on the scaffold, and it went out of his hand and hit me in the head, and knocked me clean out. Don't you remember? And I fell into a hole there.
Yeah.
Gets worse as it goes on. How'd they get you out of the hole?
Huh? It was Christmas Eve. It was blowing wind and they dug a hole, and they didn't put a red light on it. They didn't put a cover on it, and I was
Didn't
going
sue 'em
across
for $1
street to get in my
million?
car.
Sue him for $1 million.
So
I
then-
fell in that hole, and remember that girl that was, came to the synagogue, you know, she's the one that, I crawled out the hole and went next door to their apartment, knocked on the door, and she
Oh, yeah.
let me in.
Yeah, she died.
She died here not too long
Yeah.
ago. And she got scared. I said, don't get scared. I said, I think I broke my ankle.
How could you walk over there?
I crawled on my hands and knees.
You had a colorful background. Mine
Oh.
wasn't quite so colorful.
So,
Well,
so you had that store for a while, then you built another store, is that right?
No.
No,
Is
that was in pawn shop already.
So you only had the one store?
You had two
No,
grocery stores at one
I
time.
had two of them, but that other one didn't work out. I closed it up.
What store did you sell to Strier's?
The one there, one on
There's a-
33rd and 8th Street.
Oh, you sold, that's the one you sold to Strier's?
Yeah.
And then when you sold out of the grocery store.
I saw the grocery business coming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I sold him that. He wanted it real bad. I sold it to him, and I went into. I used to run around and go to the stock market, and I went. This fella, what was his name, Selma?
Gordon.
Gordon, Bob Gordon, had cancer.
Oh,
He had this little
I know
pawn
someone
shop.
named Gordon from Lincoln. It wasn't Bob though, somebody.
Well, you know, her husband was, you know her, she was,
Got the pawn shop through him?
no, I bought my pawn shop. He had it, and he says, Nate, he says, I got cancer, I'm gonna have to quit. I says, okay. I says, you give me an inventory? He says, yeah, I'll give you an inventory. What do you want? I says, well, he says, I'll let you know in a couple of days. A couple of days, he called me up. Well, I feel better now. I think they got something for me. I'll wait a little while. He waited a little while and called me another time. Finally, the third time, he says, Nate, I gotta go in the hospital today. Here's what I've got. What will you offer me? I says, show me. He showed me this, that, and everything. I brought it. But I had a hell of a time cleaning it up. But in the meantime, I went to the University of Nebraska. They got a gemologist there, and I went to learn about stones, precious stones. I used to go every night for classes for 3 weeks.
And how did you learn about the cameras and all that other?
Cameras I knew about. I got cameras. Had cameras before that. Cameras, and, electronics. I knew electronics. Now electronics is getting pretty compact. But in those days, electronics was a record player.
Oh, well,
And I learned when you make a mistake, you learn.
How about guns?
Guns, I knew.
How'd you know about guns?
I knew written magazines about it. Every time you get a book on the guns, new pricing on guns come out, I buy the magazines, we look at the price.
How about
I'll show
clock?
you some
How about clocks and watches? Where'd you learn about them?
about what
Clocks, watches.
watches, clocks. We learned railroad watches, gold watches, gold-filled watches, 21 jewel watches, 23 jewel watches that are collector items.
What happened when you were still held up once, or what?
When I was hit in the head, Selma used to come 2 days a week in the store to do my books. I was at the store alone. This fella come up, he was dressed like a doctor, attorney with a, what do you call it, a raincoat, what do you call it?
Trench coat?
Trench coat and everything. Comes in and looks at my guns and says, I need a small gun, or for 38 especially. If you got one? I said, sure, here. I went, bent down, got it, put it on the counter, and I stepped back. He looked at the toys with it, and says, well, no, I don't think that's impressive enough. You got one that's a longer barrel? I said, sure. So I went down and got the one with the longer barrel, put it on here, took this other gun, got it about right here to put it back, and he clobbers me in the head.
I remember that, that was fairly recent.
It knocks me out. And I hit 9/11, and they come, and there's a little girl that picks up the pawn chips. They had a girl that used to come pick up the pawn chips every day to report to the police departments that any of them were stolen items. And she come running around the alley, and she saw this guy run up the alley, and she come in the store, and she called 9/11 again. So finally they came here. It's only 2 blocks away, and I was bleeding pretty good in here. There was a cut here. And I closed the store, and I said, Selma, take me. Selma had a car, and I had a car. See, Selma took me to the doctor, and they stitched me up and gave me something to keep me from vomiting. I had a head as about big as that. We finally caught the guy about 6 months later. He was holding up in a hinky-dinky store and a Safeway store, and was going to another Safeway store, and they caught him by Treasure City, North 48th Street. He had the little gun with him, but the other one, they got a search warrant and they found it in his house.
Is that when you gave up the pawn shop?
Huh?
Is that when you gave up, you decided not to work anymore?
No, that's when I decided Selma should help me all the time. But I saw that Selma was having troubles too, and I decided this is enough.
So that brings you to your grandchildren.
You know?
Your grandchildren and your great-grandchild who's about to be delivered in another couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
And when she's about the bar mitzvah age, we'll let her bat mitzvah age, or his bar mitzvah, whatever. We'll show her these films, and I'm sure it will appreciate what we just went through.
Amen.
Okay, say good night to everybody. Good night,
Good
Nate.
night.
Good night. Nice being with you. Good night, Sarah.
Good night.
Good night, Sarah. Good night now.
What movie are you going to see?
Wherever you are.
No.
Selma, where are you?
Thank you.
Selma, where are you? There you are, Selma. Say good night, everybody.
Good night,
We can
everybody.
talk some more maybe tomorrow.
You're a good director.
What picture are you going to look tonight?
He wants to show you his movies.
Okay.